talk about pain, you see, many people believe that pain is the same thing with suffering. But that is not just true. Because pain is different from suffering. The same way suffering is different from happiness. But in between suffering and happiness, you have pains. So you can say that pain is the middleman between suffering and happiness. Which means the way we manage our pains is going to determine if it is going to lead to suffering. So suffering is the consequences of mismanagement of pains. Pains is universal, just like death. Everyone go through pains, rich or poor. Pain is part of life, just like we cannot survive without oxygen. Air is part of life. Pain is part of life. So, if there's anybody that is selling you the illusion of a life without pain, it's a fantasy. A prophet that preaches about life without pain is a false prophet. A teacher that teaches about life without pain is also a false teacher. Because life in itself is pain. Your mere existence came out of pain. You are born out of the labor of a woman, which is as painful as the word pain. But suffering is a total different thing. Everyone goes through pains. We go through pains on a daily basis. Pain is universal. But suffering is individual. Not everyone is suffering, but everyone goes through the same pain. We can go through a similar pain, but one person is not going to suffer because of that pain, but the other person is going to suffer. So the consequences of pain is either suffering, which is at the negative end, or happiness. And then, how do we live a life of pain without making it to lead us to suffering? You see, one of the basic fundamentals of life is to understand the truth. And when you understand the truth, you have solved 90% of your life problems. And the truth is, which you can never change, is that pain is part of life. So you can't change it. It's a fundamental truth. So when you understand that basic fact, you have solved 90% of your problems. So many people live in the denial of pains. So when they go through pain, they try by all means to interfere with the process of pain. But what they are doing is, unknowingly, they are prolonging that pain. And when you prolong pain, the consequence of it is suffering. So, when you prolong pain, you are indirectly calling suffering, which you want to stop. So what do? You need to let the process play out. Because it's through the process of pain that we become strong. And tell me, is there anything that is worth celebrating without pain? How do you know the difference between failure and success? How do you also know between suffering and happiness? So, the process of pain is an education. And there is no meaningful, tangible growth without pain. Like my previous example, your existence alone is through pain. Growth is pain. And progress is painful. Comfort or a pain-free life is seductive, is a false hope. One of the things we learn from pain, apart from growth, is we learn how to become a loving person. Because through pain, we learn how to love other people. We learn empathy. And we also learn how to appreciate life. So in addition of growth, we learn empathy from pain. We learn love through pain. We learn giving through pain. And the ultimate goal of life is not happiness. Because when you pursue a life of happiness, it's like you are chasing shadows. Because there is no way you get to happiness without crossing the hurdles of pain. So if you want to eliminate pains from life, it's impossible, because pain itself is life. It's pain that adds meaning to life. So without pain, life is meaningless. Because pain is the only thing that differentiates us between animals. Because we appreciate happiness from pain. A cow the life of a cow is meaningless because a cow doesn't really feel pains. The life of a chicken is also meaningless. So if we eliminate pain from our life, we are eliminating the core element of our existence. Because it's from pain that we find peace. It's from pain that we find happiness. So trying to eliminate pain from your life is you are living the life of an animal. But that on itself is a lie. It's impossible. Because life itself is pain. Everyone suffers pain. The rich or the poor. But the way we handle pain is going to determine if we are going to suffer. Yes, everyone suffers. Yes, everyone passes through pain. But not everyone suffers. Because suffering is a very different thing. It's a consequence of mismanagement of pain. Pain is universal, but suffering is not universal. Suffering is individual. It's a choice, but pain is not a choice. So the whole idea is for you to understand that pain is part of life. The same way with air we breathe. And when you understand that, you live a life that is free from suffering. And you wouldn't even want to live a life that is pain-free. Because the essence of life, like I said, is not to find happiness. Life is an adventure. And pain is the true meaning of adventure. Because everything that is worth celebrating comes through pain.